Hi, I'm here with Scott Townsend of Russian Ridge Winery. Where did you get the name Russian Ridge?
We live up on Skyline Boulevard, about a mile south of Thomas Fogarty Winery, right across from the Russian Ridge Open Space Preserve. That was named after an area on Skyline Boulevard from 1920 to 1950. A Russian lived in that area. Probably believe it was our neighbor, his house. And so that was known as the Russian Ridge area. So we were going to put the winery on our property. It's a scenic corridor, lots of hoops to jump through, so we just found another place to get started.
You found an urban area in San Carlos.
Well, we started in Alameda, the west end of Alameda, at Rockwall Winery. Shauna Rosenblum's the winemaker there, daughter of the Rosenblums. They got us started. They needed to increase their utilization of their space, so we, through a connection, moved to Cuvée, just down the street here, which currently has 5 other wineries. There's 5 wineries at Cuvée, and 2 years ago, 2014, in September, we moved out and moved into here, and Scott Sizemore from Waxwing moved out and went up towards Harbor Boulevard in unincorporated Belmont.
Okay, so what's your capacity here?
We are making, and have been making since we started, crushing about 15 tons of fruit, which gives us about 850 to 900 cases of wine. Barbera, Merlot, Chardonnay, we've made a Pinot Grigio, we have a sparkling, Syrah. We make a Bordeaux blend called Concerto, Cabernet Sauvignon. We've bottled a varietal Malbec and Petit Verdot for our wine club members only. Next year we're going to be doing a varietal Cab Franc. We also do a Fiddletown Zin from Amador County and a Petit Syrah from the Creston region in Paso Robles.
That's an incredibly diverse palette.
For a small winery.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's one of the things I'm finding about this. Now, you're actually part of the Mid-Peninsula Wine Trail. How did that start?
Well, using the Summit Road wine trail up in the Santa Cruz Mountains as a model, there's 11 wineries from Redwood City to Harbor Boulevard. And the concept is to get together and not take one or the other person's piece of the pie, but to make the pie bigger or make more pies. People don't know that we exist in an urban environment here in San Carlos, and all of the wineries, as I talk to them, winemakers, as I talk to them, we're all saying kind of the same thing. We didn't know you existed. So the concept is, let's get a marketing material out there, share the costs of the marketing material, and boost awareness of our location.
Now, how many wineries are actually involved with this?
Right now, 11, including the Redwood Coast Cider Works, which is cider, but it's apple wine, and they operate under the same O2 license that the other 10 do.
Okay. So, where do you sell most of your wine?
Most of our wine, almost exclusively, is direct to consumer out of our tasting room. We're open Friday evening from 5 o'clock till 9 o'clock in conjunction with Devil's Canyon Brewery, which is also open every Friday. And then Saturday, Sunday, noon until 5 o'clock. And then we also have a couple, 3 accounts at restaurants, Buck's Restaurant and Round Table Pizza in Half Moon Bay, and we've had our wine in the Palo Alto Brew pub in University, and there were some cases that were taken up to Summit Road store, just past Burrell Schools, just before the old San Jose Soquel Road turnoff. So they probably have it up there as in a restaurant.
Okay. So, how long have you actually been involved in this business?
Well, my son, when he was 8 years old, was on a soccer team, and one of the other children that was on the team's dad was Dwayne Cronin from Cronin Vineyards at the bottom of Old La Honda in Woodside. And I got to know him. I would stop on my way home from work, see what he's doing, and help him out. It was ostensibly, you help out, I'll send you home with a bottle of wine, but I wasn't there for the wine. I was there for the fun of it, really. Turns out I did that from 97 through 2000, and I learned small winery production before I even knew how to make wine. So then in 2003, I also have a friend who has a small 40-vine Chardonnay vineyard that he makes wine because his dad grew wine and made wine, grew grapes and made wine, and he's into tradition. So I was helping him, and in 2003, I looked at my wife and said, we're helping other people make some wine. Should we try some of our own? And being a very supportive wife, she said, sure, if you want to, go ahead. So we made Cabernet Sauvignon that year with a little bit of Cab Franc, co-fermentation. Next year, we added Chardonnay from Napa, the same vineyard that we were getting our Chardonnay from. I did another Chardonnay in 2009, and then in 2011 and 2012 we got fruit from that same vineyard. And then 2005 we split the Cab Franc out as a varietal, Cab Sav, Merlot, and then we had to do a second vintage of Chardonnay from the Vanamanatagi vineyards down in off of Redwood Retreat Road. That's the old Robert Louis Stevenson estate. Because our Chardonnay was picked so late and I didn't understand about high alcohol tolerant yeast, the 2004 Napa stuck. And so I talked to Michael Martella from Fogarty Winery, who suggested if I could get over the emotional attachment to a vintage Chardonnay to simply slowly add it to my 2005 Chardonnay. So we did that, and we ended up with a couple barrels of Chardonnay, which was really good. It wasn't a varietal vintage, and it wasn't a AVA-specific Napa or Santa Cruz Mountains. It was a California non-vintage Chardonnay, but it was pretty good for a home winemaker.
That's quite a journey.
Yes.
So let's see what we can do to let people know that the Mid-Peninsula Wine Trail exists and start enjoying some good wine. Thanks, Scott, for your time.
You're welcome.